Hello, you've got the Road Glide Rider, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to install the lights on my engine guard without having to pay the extra high dollar that Harley-Davidson sells the kits for. You can buy individual parts from the parts catalog and make it yourself a lot less expensive than using the Harley-Davidson kit. You can also save money if you wish to use aftermarket lights themselves, where all the wiring and everything else is plug and play Harley-Davidson parts. So let's get to it, and I'll show you how to get this stuff done. Let's show you the parts first, and then we'll take this fairing off. I'll show you how to plug and play. Now this is the kit itself with everything I'm going to need to put the lights on the engine guards of my Road Glide. It doesn't come with a kit from Harley-Davidson because the kit they sell is more expensive, and I'm not going to drill holes in my fairing and mount it the way their kit wants you to mount. So let me show you exactly what is involved and how you can get them yourself. Now this is the switch that is listed on the parts manual for the Ultra that has the push button for the spotlight to come on. You can get that, and you don't have to buy a lot of the other stuff. And you hook it in. It plugs right into the factory wiring. And now this is the wiring harness that plugs in to where the turn signals plug in the fairing. It's got the long wires that come down that plug individually into the individual fog lights or running lights that you're going to mount down on the engine guard. As you can see up the top, it's just a plug and play. You unplug one side and plug in the other, and it basically is a jumper and gives you the wires for the spotlights. And of course, there is the part number for the individual wiring harness. Now these are the mounts. They mount around the engine guard. You can place them up or lower to mount the spotlights, fog lights, onto the engine guard. Now as you can tell, they just got bolt holes through it, so you can use aftermarket lights or the factory Harley-Davidson lights. Factory Harley-Davidson, of course, is more expensive, and you can find less expensive aftermarket lights to plug it in. And of course they will plug into the wiring harness that comes down from the fairing to mount the lights. So it's up to you how much you want to spend. Now these are the Harley-Davidson Daymaker reflective LED fog lights. I decided to go with the factory Harley-Davidson ones. They're a little more expensive than what the aftermarket has, but they're a plug and play, and it's made for Harley-Davidson. I got black, of course, to match the black engine guard and that stuff. And they plug right into the wiring harness that is supplied, that runs from the turn signals down to the lower portion, so you can plug in the lights. It has the extra link there, so you can plug them right in. Now let's get to it. Now this is the instrument cluster where the switches mount. The left is where you mount the fog light switch. Also, it's where you would mount the mid-frame blower switch if you install that. On the right is where you mount accessories, and that is a separate purchase and separate wiring. Now they plug and play right into the factory harness, and we'll show you when I get it off. You get a little tap of air and it just slides right out. Now, once that's out, all it takes is taking these two screws out right here, which are a T25. You remove those, and this whole assembly will come up. You unplug the instrument cluster, and of course there's a plug on each one of these. These are dummies here. You got to unplug those, and the whole thing will come right out. As you can see right here, that's the plug you need to unplug. And like I said, there's small plugs on each side. Now the one on this side, the catch is underneath it, so you might have more trouble getting that one off, but you'll get them off. They're easy to get off. If you have to, just unscrew the screws that hold the dummy in there, and you unplug that. That's T25 also. Just unplug it, and it's good to go. As you can see, the release is up underneath there. Move this over to the side, and you get to the torque screws and just unscrew it. Now, as you can see, it's got the dummy switch covers in there right there. Now, this one, the little catch is on the inside. That's why I just took one screw out, got to pull it out far enough, loosen this one so I can unclip it and then put it right back in there. Now, we're taking this one out completely. Going to replace it with that switch. Now, one thing you might do is get something to cover your tank up, protect the paint on your tank. So let's get that switch and put it in. Now, this switch goes right in and replaces this dummy switch. It plugs in real easy so that you can get it in. I'll put the screws in and then just flip it over and plug it back in. And then this part will be done. Now, one thing I will note is if you took the blank out, this tab was on the outside. If you look now on this one, the tab is on this side of it. So if you try to put the plug in with expecting the tab to be inside, it won't go in there. It has to go in where the locking tab is. So make sure you do that correctly. Now you can see how the switch is right here, and it matches the other side. And this way you have the push, see, on and off for the spotlights. We'll get the wiring done up and we'll show you how the rest of it is. Now, the turn signals were plugged in right here. When I unplugged it from the fairing to take the fairing off. The new wiring harness is going to plug in right here. As you can see, the new wiring harness has a jumper wire right here. It has two wires coming off, one for each side of for the fog lights. So we're going to plug this in and run the wires down for the spotlights. Now, I've got it plugged in. Here's the other end that the turn signal will go into right here. Now, one thing I did do, I put it down through here, and to make it easier to get to it, I took the headlight out. And I ran the wire down, and it came out on the other side. And as you can see right here, they're dangling right here. One for the left, one for right. Now, it makes no difference which side is each side for the wiring, because they all go to the light. It comes on at the same time. It's not a turn signal, therefore you don't have to worry about which side to switch. And of course, we'll get the lights mounted up and run the wires. Got the spotlights on. Now what I did is I ran the wires into my lower, through, and tied it in. I turn the ignition on, and then I hit this button right here. It's got a little lights up there. As you see, the lights light up. Now, one thing I've been told is when I put the high beams on, they shut off. And I've also been told that I can go in to the dealership and they can program the ECU so that they will stay on as long as the switch is on. So we'll find out about that. But right now, it looks good. So, what I've done is I've covered up the headlight so you can see the fog lights when I turn them on. Because the headlight was blinding it out on the camera. And now, this is what it looks like when you turn them on. And of course, turn them off. Now, of course, if you have the high beam on, they go off. But I'm going to check and see at the dealership if I can get it set up so that the fog lights will stay on anytime I put the switch on. I've been told you can do that, so I'll find out. So, this is a Road Glide rider telling you, ride safe. And if you found this to be interesting or useful, please like it and subscribe so you know when I put more out. I've got a couple more things I'm going to be doing to the bike. So, sorry for the delay and the other stuff. Been really cold. I've been riding or else been too cold to get out of the garage. Anyway, This is real easy to do. So you guys ride safe, and I'll see you on the road.